Now, I've said that since Donald Trump was elected on November 5th, it seems like this country has even become more volatile, more goofballs, more threats of violence. We saw that day with a terroristic attack in New Orleans and one in Las Vegas. This is the culture Donald Trump and the Trumplafucks bring to this country. And it's just beginning. It's going to get worse as time goes on. Now, I heard a story recently up in Oregon. It's in Lincoln County. There was a letter that went out. It was kind of anonymous, I guess, and it was called the Brown Roundup. And what this letter basically says is that when Donald Trump gets in, we're going to have the mass deportations, and how can you help? Well, you look around for brown people and you get their license plate numbers and turn them into the federal government. That way it'll help to round up these brown people and deport all the illegals. Hell, it might mean deport them all. This is abhorrent. This is fucking ridiculous. I know people of color are worried about this and they know there'll be a pushback, but I want you to understand something. With something as ridiculous and egregious as this, there are going to be people that are pushing back of all colors. This isn't acceptable in a decent country. And at one point, we were a decent country. But if we allow these things to continue, we will no longer be a decent country. We won't be the greatest country in the world. We're going to see more of this thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what Donald Trump does in terms of the deportation. I'm not convinced that he's even going to be able to pull it off. He's got some big issues, big hurdles, most notably Congress, to get this done. It's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to take a long time. And Donald Trump is noted for making a lot of claims and not following through. But that doesn't mean that the Trumplafucks around the country don't believe everything he says. And now we're seeing things like this Brown Roundup letter. These things need to be shut down as soon as possible. These should not be accepted in this country. It's fucking ridiculous. And here's the thing. It's all going to get worse. All this rhetoric and all these threats is going to get worse over time. And why? Well, because we as a country have fucking voted for it. So now we have to deal with the problem after we created the problem ourselves. Be aware of these things. These are ridiculous. I mean, they're talking about go to your churches, go to your stores, go to your schools, go to construction zones, and every time you see a brown person, write down their license plate and turn it over to the federal government. Well, that isn't even really a thing at this point. There's no way to actually do that, and that's not something this country does. I know Donald Trump's going to try to change it after the fact. I just don't think he's going to have much luck doing it. We should be ashamed of the people of this country that do these sorts of things, though. This is reminiscent of what happened in Germany in the 30s. We don't need that shit happening here. And whether it's people of color or white people or whatever your race is, you should be appalled by this and you should be pushing back against this.